This episode of Conspiracy Craft is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Conspiracy Craft for April 22nd, 2013. I'm Gary Gannon. You're watching Gamebreaker TV. Today, the Horde have been getting a lot of action in Mists of Pandaria, but what's going on with the Alliance? We're trying to figure out how Blizzard could possibly renew that epic feeling. First, from WoW Insider and Gamebreaker TV, it's Olivia D Grace.
That other site as well.
Yeah. How are you, Liv?
I'm good. I'm really excited about this episode. This is really yes for me. I'm mainly Alliance player, so I'm excited about finding out more about how can they put the story back in, man? I'm really excited about hearing what Missy's got to say.
Obviously, they need some more story because everybody's QQing about it. So,
yeah, man.
From Gamebreaker TV, our very own red shirt girl, it's Adrian Clark, aka Missy. How are you, Miss?
I'm all right. Got my part 3 for Dawn of the Aspects that I still need to finish reading. Oh man, so much lore.
So much lore.
So there's been a bunch of discussions going on about how lackluster the Alliance story has been so far in MOP. So how was their story at the beginning of the expansion?
So pre-Pandaria, we had basically the Horde and the Alliance are facing off on the open waters and pretty much going all-out battle. Turns out the Alliance has Anduin on board when the battle concludes and supposedly both ships sink. A Horde sends off their fleet to go find this new land, and Varian, on the other hand, is furious that his son was in danger pretty much, and he's just like, okay, heroes, go off and go find Anduin. So you land on the shores of everything, take out Horde, take out Alliance, that sort of stuff. And you finally find Anduin. And he does this whole little priest mind control thing. Gotta love how he does that. And runs away.
God, Anduin, such a troll, man.
I know. And then it ends up that the Horde find him and capture him. So throughout this entire thing, it's like, the Horde's gathering forces because they know the Alliance is on the shore, and the Alliance are gathering forces, so it's like Jinyu for the Alliance and Hosen monkeys for the Horde. And the conflict just starts heating up so much, and it finally comes crashing down in Serpent's Heart in the middle of Jade Forest with this epic cutscene that is the first thing that we experience, and then that's it. And we go help pandas.
Exactly, because this is what we've just been talking through. That's kind of from where you pick up the start quest to go into Pandaria right up to the end of the Jade Forest quest zone, right? The first zone that you arrive in Pandaria. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and it's sort of, I know, I found it really odd how you got this whole epic build-up and you're like, yeah, oh my god, this is amazing. We've got there, you can see the whole world being influenced by the Alliance Horde thing. And then you're like, oh, well, should we go help out some farmers? These farmers also could do with a hand. We're like, what the heck? It just boom, crash and burn.
Awkward
What's
turn.
going on? Yeah.
It's so weird. And it's like, we spend so much time on Pandaria, we might as well find out what these people do. But it's like, this is war. War's supposed to be coming to Azeroth, Horde versus Alliance, Orc versus Humans, that feel back again. And so far, you hit 90 and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I suppose it's I suppose it's sort of like the whole, the Storm Star thing and the trailer of what's worth fighting for, and that's kind of what we're learning about from that point forwards, maybe? I don't know if that's a bit of a reach, but I hear it, it really picks back up again once the sort of patch 5.1 content started, right? The landfall and the that dominance offensive Operation Shield War thing, that picked up, right?
Yeah. Yes and no. On Horde side, it was great because it was basically, I did the dailies and it's like, go blow up this ship, go kill the Alliance, and take their ears as trophies and stuff like that. and then it's like, we did our quests were different even from the Alliance, where we went off trying to find a power source for Garrosh, but we're also doing it for Vol'jin's sake, for the lead up with 5.3 stuff. spoilers.
Yes. If you don't expect spoilers on this show, by the way, you probably come
lots of spoilers.
Oh,
This is like the
yes.
spoiler show right here.
Yeah.
So the Horde gets nice, fun stuff. The Alliance, it's more, well, let's see what the Horde are doing. Let's do it secretly. Like, there was one quest where I turned into a Grummel and took some sort of Blood Elf diary while Garrosh is standing right next to it without him finding me.
So teenage. It's like, yeah, let's go blow some stuff up. I was like, get out there and own. And I was like, we'll steal that diary. We'll totally read it.
So what's going on? What's going on during this whole time with Varian? So you mentioned Anduin, like he's off doing his adventure thing. What's he off doing? And then what's Varian up to as well?
Well, Anduin is doing his own thing, obviously. Like we've mentioned him in 5.0, but in 5.1 he picks it up even more. Varian, on the other hand, supposedly he goes and seeks out the Cinder Eye, the Blood Elves, to come join the Alliance because he knows that stuff is happening, while we go off finding a Monkey King and fixing a mallet to stop Garrosh from ringing the Divine Bell with Anduin. So it's really conflicting because it's like we're getting stuff that's happening that we're not seeing, and it's just like, by the way, and the effort that he took to try to get the Blood Elves to the Alliance is completely ruined because Jaina just hits the deep end and just starts chucking people out of Dalaran.
she's been having a pretty bad old time of it, what with the whole Theramore thing and now this whole Divine Bell thing, and like, why exactly is she suddenly completely losing it? Why is she really going off the deep end, to use your phrase?
So the scenario for Theramore really did not do justice to the story that happened in a book. In her book. Her book was great. It shows, like, it talks about Rowan dying when the Theramore goes boom, and she had an apprentice who she's found after the mana bomb dropped and like turned into dust in her arms when she reached for her, which was like, that would be traumatizing. This is like a nuke dropping in the middle of New York City or something, completely altering. So the Sun Reavers in Theramore actually betrayed her before when she asked for their aid. There was actually one guy, Horde gets to release him in the scenario, so if you didn't do Horde side of that scenario, that's what happened. It was a Sun Reaver who was weakening the defenses and basically made it so that way stuff could happen at Theramore. And then on top of that, you have Garrosh, who's just like, we went off to go get the bell. Well, the bell gets taken by the Night Elves, and it's in Darnassus, and Garrosh is like, okay, Sun Reavers, I need you to get the bell back. And he pretty much forces them to do it, which was a second betrayal by the same group of mages within her own city, and she goes off. She's done. It's like, it's even more frightening when she turns to Varian and calls him soft.
She's got a point. She has kind of got a point. I mean, at least Anduin's off doing something, and Varian's just like chilling, like, no, let's not rush in. We'll just sit back here, do nothing in particular. It's kind of crazy, his whole thing in this conflict. Yeah, and the other thing is, like, from a Horde point of view, I see the Alliance as like the strong unity, but as I was doing like the Alliance side, I was noticing like these really small hairline cracks that are in like the leadership. Like Varian is acknowledged and known as like the main leader for the Alliance. However, he's got like the dwarves not really looking towards him. He's got Tyrande being impatient for some reason, and then he's got Jaina yelling at him. So it's so conflicting.
And is the big problem is why a lot of players are talking about this? It's just that this conflict isn't really affecting Alliance players much at all.
You wouldn't even notice it if you weren't doing the scenarios and paying attention to like their dialogue, weren't reading the quest text, and weren't doing the dailies to progress and stuff. You would not see this at all. Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, I think even if you are doing all of those things, it's easy to miss the undercurrent of what's actually going on there if you don't see all the pieces that kind of pull it together. Yeah.
Did Alliance feel like they were doing anything in patch 5.1 at all?
When it was current and you were doing the dailies, you felt like you were aiding the war because it's like, oh god, I really didn't do many of the dailies because that's how much I don't like dailies after a while. But it was like I would go off and I would find relics to find out what the Blood Elves were looking for. I would go kill Horde and blow up their fuel systems or whatever. So it was great, but it was really a stalemate. Like, it could have built up to like a huge clash with 5.2 and the Thunder King, and it didn't. We go back to helping pandas.
Exactly. And I kind of got the sense that the war was going to take a backseat to Jaina and Lorthamar's revenge plots with patch 5.2, right?
Yeah.
Missy, talk a little about that. I mean, for those who haven't really played the Alliance or experienced that whole story, what happened on the Isle of Thunder?
So Jaina gets angry, right, that the Sunreavers did stuff and were within Kirin Tor when they did it, basically. So she kicks all the Sunreavers out, goes absolutely crazy, like killing the ones that are defying against her and imprisoning the rest and stuff like that. So it's really Sunreavers versus the rest of Kirin Tor. And while the Blood Elves are off seeking a weapon, basically, to use against Garrosh, basically bolstering their own defenses in case it comes to actual rebellion, Jaina is there simply for revenge sake. Like, the one person that she really wants is the one that was in charge of the Sunreavers, and on Horde's side, we got to rescue him. So it's really just mage versus mage. And it's like really not much of a prelude to what's going to happen in 5.3. Like, it's more of a conclusion for what players do in Pandaria than what's going to happen in 5.3 at all.
All right, I want to move on. I want to talk about Dark Spirit for really quick. I want to talk about our sponsors, Audible. If you guys have not checked it out, go over to audible.com/gamebreaker. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial, and you're going to get a free audiobook. They've got a great sale going on, by the way, right now. Lots of stuff is being discounted. A lot of books are $9.95. I found a couple right before the show. I was looking to pick up some more, but if you guys have been watching, I've been reading or listening to the Neverwinter series, the Dungeons and Dragons books, and they've got this semi-annual sale going on. I found these two right here. They look pretty good. I think I'm going to pick them both up today. Only $8.73 on sale from $17 or $25 if you're non-member, $18. So big sale going on right now.
Yeah.
The semi-annual sale. Check it out. Lots of the Dungeons and Dragons books. There's definitely a few of them on sale. All you gotta do, go over and sign up today. Audible.com/gamebreaker. Download the app, put it on your iPhone, your iPad, or your Xbox, Roku, whatever you got, and get to listen to some D&D books. Nerding out. Some D&D.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some Dark Spirits. Liv and Missy, you managed to both get some time on the PTR, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
How is that story looking so far?
Wow.
Oh, big sigh.
Yeah, I mean, I know, it's just, I mean, I have to say, like, obviously, as I've mentioned, I play mostly Alliance. So my first port of call with these news stories is normally to go check out the Alliance side of things. So I jumped onto one of my Alliance characters on the PTR, and I'd heard from some of, like, people like Misty that there was stuff happening that I needed to check out. Went into the Alliance city, and everything's peachy. Went over to Stormwind, everything was peachy. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll go check this out from a Horde perspective then. And, like, there's some angry dude in the Horde city, like, oh, look what you've done. The goblins have dug a hole in the middle of the Vale. And, you know, you go over to Orgrimmar, and, like, Garrosh's dudes are taking over the place. And it's all go. Like, the Barons are under attack from the Corcron, and the Alliance is just like, oh no, we're cool, don't worry about it. And you go over there as the Alliance player, and you're still going in there to sort of do the same, you've got the same adventure objective, but it's just so passive, and all you're doing is like, oh, we'll sneak in, steal their diary again or something, because that worked so well last time, and you just like sneak into this little secret SI7, which is like the sort of spy dudes, the Alliance spy dude bubble, and you know, you just sneak around the place pretending to be a cat. Awesome. That's totally going to give me that hero feeling.
Oh yeah.
So it's not sounding like you guys, not sounding like the Alliance are getting much love on PTR either.
No. And then for like whatever reason, the Alliance are just like, oh, by the way, there's this druid she needs help. Oh, she's a troll, but just free her.
She's a troll, but she's pretty awesome. She's
Why?
Can we not blow her up? Can we not kill her? No, apparently we're going to free her for no particular reason other than this is when we're being a cat, by the way. So we're sneaking around pretending to be a cat, and our little cat's going to free a troll. And it's just like, this is a little contrived. And I think the reaction from Blizzard was like, oh, the Alliance are clever. The Alliance are clever. They're just like sneaking around, being a cat in a bubble.
But it's like,
no.
What's going on? What's making them want to do this? What is going? Oh,
yeah, it's suboptimal. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really played through it that much from the Horde side, but I mean, at least with them, you've got. I mean, even for someone like me who's not super duper like Missy, who knows everything that's going on already, and I'm just like, even from me from the Horde side, playing through it from the Horde side, where I haven't got quite to the same point as I have on the Alliance side. We actually start gathering the supplies. And you can see why it's happening. Like, oh my God, the Corcoran have taken over these big chunks of it. They're doing awful things. And this is why we have to do this. We have to go and find Vol'jin. And obviously, this is what's going to happen. But the Alliance, you're just like, oh yeah, we just happened by one day. And like, what?
What is going on?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the question is, though, like, always the question is, I mean, there's been some toing and froing about this on Twitter with, like, from the likes of Dave Kosak, who've been trying to explain the choices that they're making. But I think a ton of people are really unhappy. So, okay, I'm going to ask you this, Missy, because I have my own idea, but I want to hear yours. It's reasonable. How do you go about fixing the storyline for the Alliance? How do you take what we've got now and turn it into something that's actually makes people feel like it's worth playing from the Alliance perspective?
Well, let's summarize it real quick. The main issue is the Alliance are told to go help the Horde by a Pandaren. It's another panda telling the Alliance what to do. It's Lord Walker True. That's fine. That's great. I mean, he's awesome and everything, but it's like, I saw this in a dream brew. Amber and Sully need you. Go find them. And it really, like, it doesn't need to be a panda that tells them to do this. It needs to be Cho saying, your king wants to see you. He's heard something. He was looking for you while you're doing this whole dream brew stuff. Go find him in Stormwind. And then Varian is just like, hey, I heard stuff is happening. And he gives you like a quick synopsis rundown, even if it's you have to listen to him talk about it or whatever and read text. Then he can give like a nice synopsis and be like, okay, go do this. Not to mention, like, there's this big, huge point in, I'm going way back to Kata days. 4.1, sorry, I'm still stuck in Mists, with the trolls. Vol'jin didn't have to come and warn Varian about what the Zandalari were doing in Zul'Gurub. Zul'Gurub is just a day or two march away from Stormwind City. So he could have basically left it alone and let them, waltz through Stormwind, but he knew it would be too big for him, so he came to Varian. Varian is orc-like in many sense, and he would be honor-bound to help the trolls because they helped him. And it's just,
yeah. And it would just give Varian as well. It would just make Varian less passive. I mean, because, talking to you about it, it's been the first I've really noticed of all the stuff that he's been up to, and it's just, that's a really good reason. That's a really good reason to help Vol'jin out, because he helped us out a little while back. That makes perfect sense.
And that's really what the problem is that the Horde story is told so well on the Horde point of view, but for the Alliance in-game, it's not presented well. Like, Wrath of the Lich King, the Horde, basically, the only reason why we were in Northrend was because the Alliance were in Northrend, and Sylvanas was kind of taking revenge on Arthas. But the storylines were so different.
Mm.
And it still ended up with that, end story. It was great.
You feel like that was when players were most happy, when it kind of like came to that head like it was in Lich King?
Very much so. I actually had like a discussion about it with somebody, and you had the backstory with the RTS, with Warcraft III, so you kind of knew what he was doing then. The people who didn't get to experience could read the book if they chose, but at the same time, that was told so well, in like the 5-mans and the quests and everything, that it was at that perfect point of like Horde Alliance differentiation, the words. So it was great for like the two different factions basically. And right now Blizzard is trying way too hard to have all content for one. And sadly they'll have to go back to work and actually, split it again when they can't tell their story. So that's my solution.
Change it up, Blizzard. Change it up. Stop trying to give us the same thing.
Viewers, what do you guys think? What can Blizzard do to actually fix the Alliance story? Let us know in the comments below. Olivia D. Grace, follow her on the Twitter at Olivia D. Grace. And of course, come over to GameBreaker.tv all day, every day, and check out all her World of Warcraft coverage. And Adrian Clark, aka Little Missy 4205, follow her on the Twitter at Lil Missy 4205. You can follow me on Twitter at Gary Gannon, follow GameBreaker TV at GameBreaker TV, and we will be back next week for some more World of Warcraft talk. We'll see you next week for more Conspiracy Craft. Thanks for watching.